lost Adam.
Oh no!
It's always a crapshoot, really. There it is.
Yay, Adam! Yay! Well, welcome everybody! Yay!
Yes. Thanks for joining.
Yes.
We've got a great show tonight for you guys. We have Tracy Mays joining us tonight from Wandering Souls Paranormal. Yay! She'll get to spend the next hour or so with us and chat about all her experiences and her life.
Yes. Yes, let us hear all about it.
Hear all about it. I'm a bit of a talker, so y'all got to stop me when it's time to stop. That extrovert.
No, that's good. So am I. At first it starts off slow, I got to feel the area, listen to, what's going on. And then once I get going, I can't stop. So y'all just tell me, shut up.
Tunnel click.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that's what the mute button is for, right?
Hey, but I got the controls.
Yeah, she sure does.
But it's great to have you.
Go ahead, Katherine.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
We started learning about what you've done for Cleburne and stuff, and how you're expanding it out to our little city of Strawn, town of Strawn in Texas, and want to give you the floor there and explain to everybody just all the great stuff and wonderful stuff that you've done for the town.
Where to begin? Well, I started here in Cleburne because I live here in Cleburne, and I have several friends who own businesses in downtown, and they were, struggling to pay rent. They were struggling to, nobody was buying, the recession was hitting really hard. So it started out, like, okay, for every $10 y'all spend in one of these shops, you'll get a free ticket to my haunted ghost tour. So that went fairly well, kind of slow. People weren't really like grasping it. I was kind of on the really pushing it very much because it was kind of like a little, here and there type thing. But my favorite thing was even if I didn't have anybody touring, I still dressed up. I was wearing the pettiskirts and I was getting honks and waves, and I think, I was like, oh, hey, at least I'm getting some sort of attention out here. So then I started working with them and helping them with like their TikToks and stuff to not only promote their business, but also to, let people know like, hey, yes, we're haunted. Come see our place, but also, shop for some stuff. So I was doing some investigations, and somebody's like, oh, I love that blouse. Do they have that in my size? So I'm ghost hunting, and I'm like, yes, darling, do you want to try this on too? Like, do you want me to show you? So I was doing double duty, helping them sell boutique clothes while ghost hunting at the same time.
Wow.
So,
Nice.
But Dylan, the Dylan Funeral Home, Mr. Dan Roberts purchased the funeral home, and it stood vacant for about 15, 20 years. And his dream was to make a ice cream shop and a train museum. And boy, he has. It is an amazing place. And I walked in just to get my kids some ice cream, and like my mom always used to say, you don't know a stranger. So I walked in, and he's like, I go, this used to be a funeral home. He's like, yeah, we've got ghosts too. You want to see upstairs? And I came back down. I said, Mr. Dan, I can help you run your ghost tours and help you maintain the building at the same time. So, yeah, we've been doing it for about 6 months now, and he's been able to do some fixing up of the building and helping maintain. And he's grown his. I don't even really. I advertise it here and there on certain pages, but he still wants to keep it well, he's kind of grown to the idea now. He loves it now because people come in. He's like, "She's my Ghostbuster. Go talk to my Ghostbuster." And so,
Nice.
yeah, and he's so funny because people will ask him. I've brought podcast crews in. I've brought television. Not really, it's just the low end side of things like YouTubers and stuff, and he just he's the sweetest man, but he is so hard to read, and he'll sit there and he's like, oh, I don't believe in it, but apparently they all have names, and my Ghostbuster says they have names. So he's been he's been a lot of fun to I'll walk in and be like, Mr. Dan, how are you today? He's like, hello, young lady. How many Ghostbusters do we have today? So I started doing my downtown tours from the Dillon Depot, to where they meet me at 6:30. They can have an ice cream, get to enjoy the museum. So that brings people into his business. And the people who are doing the investigation get a free historical tour, because for me, it's really, really important for investigators to know the backstory of the individuals who they're, getting to know and getting to investigate their lives, what the town meant to them, how they lived and how they died. So I offer that for people who pay for investigation, like, hey, come along for free, it's part of the package. But I also open it for for $10 a person, if they want to do a tour. Sometimes I have my REM pod, sometimes I have my Paralight. But I just invested in like a little speaker thing so that they could hear me over the trucks and stuff. So I feel a little bit like Britney Spears, not the now that has like the two different versions, but the then before that was real spunky. But yeah, I have a blast. So that's Cleburne, and I've worked pretty closely with like the Historical Society and the individuals down, just getting to know who they are. The Painted Rose is a new tattoo parlor that just came in. My little friend Ethan, he likes it there. He really, and they're like, oh, that's his name, like that, like, oh, and now we know the little toot that's messing with our stuff. Yeah. So they've even said like, hey, if you get a group of people and they want like a little ghost tattoo, then we'll do a discount with them, and they're amazing too. So we have a lot of fun in downtown.
We'll have to remember that in the end of September.
Yes.
Yeah. You're gonna, and Painted Rose is really nice too. So
that's so funny because
we got Joanne, Joe, Kimmy, Victoria.
Yay! Hey everybody. That's funny because Saturday we're going to get ghost tattoos.
Oh.
Yeah.
In Adam's home base, San Antonio.
Oh, there's a lot of there's a lot of tattoo artists down there in San Antonio.
Yeah. So, Tracy, I heard a little rumor that there was like a favorite ice cream that he sells. Is there like a favorite flavor?
Yes, it's the Dr. Pepper. The Dr. Oh, there's Charity. Charity. Oh, I can see. Hey, girl.
Hey, Amy.
So, Dr. Pepper is. So there's Dr. Pepper is. It literally tastes like you're drinking a Dr. Pepper. It is crazy good. But his ice cream is handmade. It's no preservatives. He makes it where the embalming room used to be. So I think it's funny to tell
Perfect.
people that they're getting their ice cream from the embalming room. So
That's how you do it.
Everybody just kind of.
Do you mention that like after everybody's got their cone or their ice
Yeah,
cream?
after everybody's been eating, I'm like, okay, guys, this used to be a funeral home. And by the way, that ice cream was made in what used to be the embalming room. So they're all just kind of like,
Great.
Hey, it gives
the
it.
Dr.
It gives
Pepper
it a
was
little,
Amy's.
it gives it a little extra flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, little extra vitamins right there.
Yeah,
There you
You get the whole experience.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
That's awesome.
I have to remember that. So, what kind of spirits do you have there around the depot area? Are they like workers from the past, or
There's a whole lot. So at the Dillon, we've asked one time. I was sitting there and sorry, I gotta fly away and it's driving me. So I asked one time, I said, well, how many, because I was curious, like this is an old funeral home. It was a funeral home for almost 100 years. And I was curious how many spirits were there. And just tell them extra spicy. It's an extra spicy spirit. I need to tell them that next time. Oh, that's extra spicy right there. It's ice cream with a kick. So,
oh my gosh, that's funny.
But I asked them one time. I said, "Okay, well, how many are here with us?" And I used from Paratonics, I believe it's their voice box. I used that, and I used my my REM pod, and I was like, "Are there more than 10?" And the REM pod goes off, and then I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna jump this up. Are there more than 50?" The REM pod goes up. Well, I asked, "Well, how many are there?" And it said, "We are many." And I was like, "Oh no, we're going into the whole like ghost biker thing, Ghost Rider, We Are Legion type situation."
Yeah.
And I'm like, how many is it? Because it felt very crowded. Hello, Miss Jackie. I just saw Miss Jackie.
Jackie.
All my faves are on. All my faves are on. So at any given time, man, sometimes there's over 100 in there. I've got a select few that that come out pretty strong. Ethan likes to follow me, the little boy. I think I've become his favorite because he likes to follow me. And now the coffee lady that sits up front, she goes, "Listen, me and you got to talk about your little friend Ethan because he keeps opening my door and he keeps making a mess. You need to tell him I'm gonna put him in timeout if he doesn't behave himself." So he's pretty mischievous. He's about 8-9 years old. So there's Ethan, and there's a spirit there that he drives me insane. But I think his name is Sam. I can't really trust anything he says because he likes to come across and say he's a demon. He likes to come across and say that that he's going to do all these things. And I think he just really tries to scare people. I believe he's definitely negative just because he's a bit of a toot. But I definitely don't. There's not any demonic in that place. It's just Sam. He's a bit of a toot.
Bully.
To be nice about it. Yeah, he's a bully, and Ethan will come across and basically say the mean man, and so I've been closely watching this place about 6 months because I like to make sure that my guests who are coming up there that they get to basically investigate and research the spirits that are there, but I also like for them to know that, let's not, we're not taunting, we're not like attacking, because they're really not bad spirits, and it riles Sam up. He gets real fun. He starts pushing and pulling, and he likes to try to get you to leave early because he's been able to do that a couple of times. So, yeah, and I've definitely had a fight or flight experience a couple of times, and I've left my cohort Jacob. Poor Jacob has been left upstairs before because if you see me running, don't even ask why. Just follow me. Just follow. Ask questions later, because it's that gut feeling that I have learned very, very quick not to second guess, especially in those situations. And yeah, Jacob has learned pretty quickly that if I turn around to run, he needs to take off first and just start taking off. That's all you got to do. So yeah, and there's several. There's been a woman with two kiddos that are in the back hallway in the apartments. Like you get a very heavy feeling in the one hallway. There's they call it a body spreader. You would put the body on it. It's still there. You put the body on it to spread it out so that you can do what you need to do to make you pretty for your viewing. And so that's still there. There's two coffins that are still there, an old backboard, and everybody's favorite, the gurney. Everybody likes to sit on that gurney and push each other around on the gurney. So
how about, do y'all ever get into coffins?
I was just going to ask that.
No, so I definitely don't, because they're those old wooden coffins. Like, it looks like it's like super old, and skinny people must have only died back then, because it is like literally like maybe 2 feet. Like, I don't know if like they trim them to stick them in the coffin or what, but they're little. They're very little, but the body spreader's on top of it, so nobody tries to get in there, because they're old rickety wooden coffins.
Yeah. Might break or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but we do have a coffin vault. I don't know how it got up there. I don't, because it's heavy. So I've been watching people open it. And everybody signs a waiver like, hey, if you get possessed, if you fall down the body shaft, or if you get locked in the coffin vault, I'm not responsible. So I make sure everybody signs that waiver before they get locked in the vault. So
Wow.
I don't know where the key is either.
I
have no idea.
Like you wouldn't be able to get out of once you got in it?
Well, it's one of those, and I'm sure you can. It's heavy, so it would take several people. But it's one of those, you know how like at the cemetery, and they still use them today, but at the cemetery, it's this metal, like, it looks like a butter dish to me. I know that's horrible, but it's got a round top, and you would put the top on top of it so that nobody would get at the casket. So the top kind of is open, It doesn't move. I've tried to move it. I've even put Jacob on it. Poor Jacob. He's 23. He's small, compact. I can put him wherever I need to and be able to pull him out when I need to. So, we tried, and Jacob did just fine, and I couldn't pull the thing down or anything. So I don't think anybody would be able to pull it down because it is extremely heavy. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
It sounds like an exciting place.
We're coming.
Oh, it's exciting.
We'll be there.
Yeah, it's a lot of there's a lot of stuff that because we also do the top part is the apartment, which has a record room with all the records from everybody who's ever come through there, which a lot of people really like that. There's there used to be toe tags up there. I don't know what happened to the toe tags. I asked Mr. Dan, and he has no idea. So, but everything that funeral home had is in that record room, and I'm talking like reels of footage. Of course, you have to have one of those old fancy like movie projector things, but it's pretty interesting. It's like it got stuck in 1950, 1960 is where it got stuck. The Dillon and Sons left in 75, and then the Martin Funeral Home took over in 75, and in 2001 they closed their doors, and that's when it stopped being a funeral home, and it just sat empty till Mr. Dan took it over.
Wow.
Wow.
So I bet you he's so happy that you're doing this.
I would love to say he's happy that I'm doing it, but he's so funny. Like I said, he's just like, he looks at me like I'm crazy sometimes. Like, what's she gonna do? He looks at me real like he doesn't know exactly what I'm about. I think I'm too energetic for Mr. He knows that I'm passionate about this, and so he's been very kind to allow me to come in and share with everybody, the history and how this building is important to Cleburne, because it was the funeral home in Cleburne. If you were going to get buried, you had to come through that funeral home.
Wow.
Wow. Is there some restaurants and stuff in that area that you also?
Yeah, so haunted wise, there is, so the Red Horse is a restaurant, the Mexican restaurant is inside of the Red Horse. The Red Horse is 3 stories of antique. So there's a lot going on in the Red Horse. The Chafin is Mr. Dan also owns the Chafin. It's over 100 years old. And there has been reports of, activity there. Jimmy's, I've got a great working relationship with Jimmy, who owns Jimmy's. It's amazing steaks. Like, man, Cleburne does not deserve Jimmy. He has some amazing food, but his I want to say is probably one of the more haunted locations. It's more of the more notorious locations, because it's 3 stories, and it's the one. It also became a funeral home before they built the Dillon Depot. So it was a hardware store, one-stop shop. You got your nails and your wood, and voila, you got your coffin. So they did everything at those locations. So the first, before it was a funeral home, it was a saloon on the bottom level. It's entertaining girls on the 2nd level, and then 3rd level was gambling. And the story at Jimmy's is the boy, he was about 6 or 7, was running drinks up and down the stairs and I guess one of the gambling guys got upset and pushed the little boy down the stairs. So there's stories of the little boy also there at that particular location, and we've investigated Jimmy's before. To where it's a smaller location. So like for the event that we're putting on the Parapalooza, now it's sold out. Like everybody bought tickets to Jimmy's. It's a smaller location, but activity wise, like all you have to do is sit in that chair, and the amount of activity that you get is insane because of how strong those spirits actually are. They move in cat balls. But it doesn't help, and I'm smiling because I laugh about this all the time. People don't understand you're eating and you're drinking stuff in these historic buildings, and when you're not paying attention, you're eating ice cream out of an embalming room, or you're having a steak next to the stage that the girls danced on in the late 1800s. That the caskets would be placed on, and the door with the little peephole, that the girls would make sure you weren't the popo. They would peek and make sure, you knocked, and that's there in Jimmy's too. So you've got those two wooden items that are just like filled with energy from the past. So, it's very, not only have you got great food, but there's a lot of activity in that one little building too. So, but those are the locations definitely. If you go eat or whatever, those locations definitely have some residual and even intelligent haunts in those locations.
Excellent. Oh, well, we're pretty excited when we get there. It's going to be nice.
Yeah.
Oh, it was that downtown part was called Little Chicago, and it wasn't called Little Chicago for nothing. So, a lot of any kind of fun that you could have on that side of town, they were doing it and dying at the same time. So, there's a lot of activity.
Wow.
I was going to say something, but I decided not to say something. I was going to say it's double D, doing it and dying. But then I'm like,
Yeah.
double D. Never mind.
It's waiting on our show now.
Oh, no. Oh, goodness. I know. I'll see myself out. Oh, my goodness.
So transition.
Well, the what?
Oh, I was gonna say when you're ready, transition us to Strawn.
Oh, to Strawn. Well, before I head to Strawn, our cemetery it's one of the most active cemeteries because those individuals were buried not once, not twice, but 3 times. They were dug up twice and buried 3 times. Yes. So, to kind of give I guess, cliff notes of the story, when the town of Wardville was no more, they were like, okay, come dig up your kinfolk because we need to move them closer to what's now going to be Cleburne, and this is no longer going to be a town, it's going to be a lake. And so they dug them up and buried them closer to where the old high school is. Well, they buried them there, and then they find out that the Native Americans were buried there. And, we can't have that. So let's dig up our family and move them away from the Native Americans because I don't want my auntie being buried to some Native American guy. So they dug them back up. They took them over to the other cemetery, and they buried them there. Well, some of those gravestones that you see don't even have bodies underneath them because they don't know where they went. So,
wow, that is
yeah, there's a lot. There was a poor farm here in Cleburne. So a lot of those bodies that were put over there weren't even marked. The graveyard, the cemetery people are like, if you want to go see this grave, it doesn't have a body attached to it. So basically every like body in that cemetery on a certain part of it, we get, I'm lost. What happened? Where am I? Help me. And it's horrible. Like, it is horrible. But where are they? I mean, once it's kind of like, once you start moving from locations, they're loading all these bodies into these carts, and like, okay, one body might go into the wrong grave marker, and they just didn't keep up with that stuff. They just let anybody do whatever they needed to. So we have a lot of activity. We also have Union soldiers and Confederate soldiers buried by each other. So that doesn't help the feelings in the cemetery. And then Myrtle, the four-legged woman, is also buried in that cemetery. So, and she's got a lot of animosity. So she's pretty, her husband put 2 layers of cement over her grave because people kept trying to dig her up to see her body.
Oh no.
What? I'm
So,
sorry.
yeah.
You cut out just a little bit. She was, all I heard was 4 legs. What did she have?
4 legs.
Okay. Wow.
She had 4 legs. Myrtle had 4 legs. And she, I guess she was a sideshow worker for a bit, but she did die in Cleburne, and her grave is actually next to Mr. Wright's grave, the one who built the Wright Plaza and the Liberty Hotel. So she is right next to his grave.
Really?
That does remind me. Here in San Antonio, there's a cemetery with, and I think this was the 60s or 70s, where like a lady was buried. I forgot how they said it was, but they said she was buried in her convertible car, and that they custom built like the underground section to put the car in. She's in there, that they put like this giant block of cement on top of that, so nobody could try to get in there and take out the car or her.
And take a peek. Yeah, I have heard about that. Wasn't it a pink convertible? I think that's what. I think there was pictures of that too when they were burying her. So yeah, I mean, and when you look at Cleburne, you're just kind of like, what? What? So yeah, there's a lot of history, and the reason why I know a lot of this is not only talking to people who've lived here, but I've read the newspapers from 1855, 56, and I'm almost to 1952. So that's about a year of going through all the newspapers at the library, reading the stories and matching up my stories and making sure that, I have facts. And the ones that I can't find facts of, like the Ladies of the Night, they're not going to say anything about them in the newspapers. They're not going to give them a name or a face. So none of that, I can't back any of that up, but I let people know, like, look, this is the story that is told. This is the evidence that I've gotten, but there's no like factual evidence to back it up. So I don't want them just to be stories or legends or myths. I want people to understand that this is what made this town. These stories, these lives made Cleburne what it is. And I want people to know that when they I don't want to be just some random tour guide walking around saying, somebody's being paid $8.50 an hour, like, oh, look at that, take pictures in that window. I want people to know my heart and soul is with this town and the spirits that are in the town. Just like Strawn. I'm not from there, but I've grown to know these people. They're all very, very nice people. And City Hall, which I do through all that stuff, we do a donation to City Hall so that, thank you, Jackie.
Yeah.
But City Hall in Strawn, the second floor needs a lot of TLC, and they just don't have any money coming in for it. So my investigations and stuff, anytime we come through City Hall, I give them a percentage of what we do. So when people pay for their rooms, they're not only paying for their room and their food, but they're also paying to help City Hall do those so badly needed renovations for the second floor of that building.
That's amazing.
So,
Yeah.
That's really,
so
really
I guess
good.
I eased into Strawn.
Yeah.
So
are y'all ready to learn about?
tell us a little bit more about the hotel or the B&B.
The Watson House. Man, I love that place. So
Beautiful.
the Watson House, it is absolutely stunning. The Watson House, sheer accidents is how I got started with the Watson. And I shouldn't say accident, I should say fate, because anytime I do some of these things, I'm being led to these houses. I'm being led to these businesses. And we pulled up, it was Mother's Day, and I wanted to see the house because I have a group, which a lot of them have already said hi, but I have a group that have kind of adopted me as their haunted travel agent. So I basically find them locations that aren't heard of, and we go investigate them to give these places a name. And so I went to the Watson House, and nobody answered the door. And I got back in the car, and my husband's like, I'm not going in there. Nope, not doing it. And I said, why? He goes, because something is staring at us from like that second floor. I am not going in that house. My husband puts up with my antics, but he does not partake in my antics, right? So he made me leave. He was driving. He made me leave. I get a call. So I call because here I am curious. I'm like, I want to be there. Like I felt like the house was calling me, like, please come back. And so I called, and I got the lady who was making the reservation. She's like, the owner really wants to talk to you. Are you okay chatting with him? I'm like, yeah. So talking to the owner, it morphed into what it is now. He and I are like best friends now. Like I've known him for 100 years. He's amazing. Like what he did to this house. The Watsons they're the ones who built it in 1919. They were the mercantile side of Strawn. They helped build Strawn. They were the family that helped make Strawn what it was and what it is. They had their own, currency. All this stuff is still in that house. And this house, for about 52 years after the Watsons left the house, of course, a funeral home took it over. I don't know what it is with me in these funeral homes, but a funeral home took it over, and Mr. Stephen purchased it from the funeral home. So they had it so there was really, the Watsons owned it, the funeral home owned it, and then Stephen owned it. And Stephen is a interior decorator to the stars. So the man knows his elegance and, sorry guys, my cat wet. Sorry. So
Animals.
It's like you threw the cat.
I just lovingly threw her off is what I did. notice she came back in full force.
Aw.
I
She's a
guess
mess.
like what they say, they always land on their feet. So
Yeah, they
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, and she bounced right back. I promise. Um. So so Stephen took this house and brought it exactly back to how the Watsons had it, even down to this portrait that no, I can't share the spotlight with my co-star because she's a hog. She's a hog.
Aw.
Look at this. She's a hog.
Aw, she's so cute.
She's a hog. So but so this painting that the one of the Watson's great grandchildren had this painting and wouldn't sell it to Stephen. So what he did is he went to an artist where they recreated the exact painting and put it back over the fireplace.
wow.
So the house is just, it has original clothing from the family. It has original, Bibles and chairs. And he has tried to bring the essence of the Watsons back into this home. And for me, what gets me is that first night I was a little freaked out because it was myself and Amy from Call Me Claire. And oh, thank you. She knows it too. So Amy from Call Me Claire, she is my eye. Like I feel things, I sense things, but I honestly can't see what's coming at me until it hits me. So Amy and I went, and as soon as I opened those doors, it was weird. It was like, welcome home. We've missed you. And the first night I slept there, it was like, it's like somebody tucked me in. Now I will say I was a little annoyed because my soundscapes that I put on my phone when I'm in a haunted place, she kept turning it off and kept singing like a lullaby. And after the fourth time she did it, I was like, all right, no, like I can't sleep when you're singing in my ear. Like I can't. So the second time that we went in there, activity just started getting more more ramped up, and the Google Home will turn itself on. Doris Day, Etta James will pop on.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm laughing at this because so the second group, now if Amy's still watching, she was part of that group. It was Amy, and I had like 8-10 others. So was Miss Jackie, and we had 2 that didn't get to sleep on their bed. They slept on the couches in the parlor because of things that were going on. And then Tyler, he moved. It was him and his parents were staying in the bed. Well, the parlor was attached. Martha's room has a little living or room area where a bed's at. And then, of course, the parlor. Jackie says me. So Tyler pushed, instead of staying in the parlor, he pushed his air mattress into the room where his parents were so he wouldn't have to sleep by himself in the parlor. And I say that because, like, before we left to do the historical tour of the town, and I hate clowns. I don't like clowns, and I don't like doll clowns. I don't like dolls. I definitely don't like doll clowns. This very special doll clown, which was Stephen's, it's old. It's a rag doll clown. Made its way to the mantle and was staring at everybody as we were about to walk out. And so that Tyler was like, nope, I'm not sleeping in that parlor. So he slept in there with his parents. We also had a situation where a crystal from what we thought was a chandelier ended up on a tray, but it came from like a curtain rod thing that was like 10 feet in the air. Nobody heard it. Nobody. So we're all staring at each other like, okay, this is really weird. The activity is super crazy. They were what I was called my control group, just so I can kind of gauge different events, what would happen once we start actually doing the big event. So that happened. Miss Jackie got a lot of really good evidence. We played poker with them. Not allowed in my house. No joke. Not allowed in my house either, man. But we oh man, I get distracted. I'm all like reading the so
Hi, Victoria.
I understand.
especially the longer ones. So but this what I really laugh about is the third time I had Unknown Ventures with Robbie Brown. Robbie came out with Amy, and Robbie has been to the Haunted Hill House. He's been to Salem. He's been to Zach's museum thing. He's been all these different places. Well, that guy, I would think, you know, he would not get scared very easily, but they were all begging to stay in my room and just sleep on the floor. And I'm like, no, you're not. So they were sleeping, like Robbie was on the floor and Amy was on the couch, and they didn't sleep in their rooms either by themselves. This last group we had, it was the Ghost of Podcast Girls. They've been to a lot of places too, and all three of them, they ended up sleeping on a queen size bed. They refused to sleep by themselves in their room. There was that much activity.
Wow.
That last night was super crazy. Like so much poltergeist type activity, so much like my lights to my room. I went up. I don't know if you saw the video, but
I saw the video.
Yeah, the flickering.
Oh,
that's somebody had said, "Oh, I hope one of them had a good electrician." I'm like, no, honey, that had nothing to do with the wiring in that place. That because the system, it's a dimmer. Like you have to like tweak it a little bit, but it's the old school like push buttons that they had in the 20s. I'm saying everything is original except for like the innards. Like there's wiring and plumbing and all that. That's all like been redone. But it was crazy. It was like somebody was standing inside that room and was like making the lights go fast, like dim light, and I'm just sitting here like, it took me a minute, like, oh, I need to be recording this because I'm just like staring at it, like, what is going on? And nobody's answering me. I'm like, guys, nobody's answering me. So
I remember hearing you because you were like, guys.
yeah. Like, can somebody come up here to prove that I'm not going out of my mind? Because this is like, I've never in my life seen anything like this before. And I'm like, and I have to sleep in there. So I'm like, you know, come on. Like, I run downstairs, run back upstairs with them, and the lights stop flickering. And I'm like, of course they did. That's why I got a little bit of video that I got is to prove that this really happened. Because it's just like your car's clanking, and they're like, no. Oh, there it is. Yeah. It looks even better on that screen too.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
It was just flickering like crazy, man. It was going on at least 2 minutes before in my brain was like, oh, I better get my phone out. But yeah, it's like I can't even explain it. And I also can't explain downstairs. I utilize Reolink. It has a motion sensor on it. The alarm goes off. Well, downstairs where the French doors are, like a couple of weeks ago, the doors had flown open. It was a weird situation. But so I put my camera down there. Well, I've got video. I'm still I don't like putting anything out there until I like really physically look at it, but my Reolink alarm goes off and starts like going crazy. And so I pulled it up, and this weird light anomaly like was in the doorway and just kind of moseys by the doorway. All of us are in the dining room. Like nobody's walking by those doors. We're all watching it real time from my phone going, what on earth is that? What is that? Well, there's a story, not one of the boys that lived there. It was a friend of the family. He drowned in the creek behind the house. And he is known to walk in the backyard. And he's basically a light source that just walks in the backyard. So before I even put this, because I just love when people tear everything apart, but before I put this on, I've been watching it and making it go slow and and people are like, was that somebody with a flashlight? Is that no, we were the only ones in the house, and I had we were doing I always get this wrong. It's the blindfold and the hearing. Yes, we were doing the Estes method in the dining room where Miss Watson had passed. We were doing the Estes method in there, and I had taken the headphones off because I was hearing laughter on it, and I'm like, if these are broken, it's just laughing. And all of a sudden the REM pod behind me went off, and then we heard what was like a loud boom from the door area, and then all of a sudden my alert from my Reolink went crazy. So that's how I knew to pull it up on my phone. And we were watching this weird shadow, like somebody was pacing on the top, like the top landing of the stairs. And then all of a sudden this crazy light anomaly just like very slowly goes by. So yeah, it's I call it the bougie ghost investigations, because you've got your luxury beds that if you decide to sleep in them, they're feathered down mattresses and they're amazing beds. And then we do the slaughterhouse. We do the city hall. We do the house itself. And then of course you get 3 meals on elegant dinnerware, like you're in the 1920s. So it's a big experience.
Wow. So the slaughterhouse, as in animals?
Yeah, as in animals, it was the Strawn, the Watson hardware store, and then it became a slaughterhouse. And there's definitely a negative entity there. I was coughing, couldn't breathe, and I can't for sure sit there and say like I grabbed my own throat and that's why there was handprints, because I felt like I couldn't breathe. I was coughing, and I was coughing so hard that I was starting to gag. And until I got outside, I stopped, and they were like, "Look at your neck." And so I'm looking at it, and it looks like fingerprints, like red. It was red and white, and it was on, and yeah, almost like they were choking me. The podcast girls that I took back there, she's a psychic medium, and she was like, "There's a very mean man that's here. He was like a basically an overseer." Yeah, charities. It was very heavy at the slaughterhouse. But she was like, he's just a mean man. We got Dave that came across a couple of times, and then oinking. Like, I'm like, are you oinking at me? Like, come on. Like, really? I'm about to do something. I'm gonna bless you, and you're never gonna be allowed to be back in here again. But the oinking noises, the sound of just heavy footsteps, we've heard that. We've heard just growling. So it's an interesting place. And he's about to make it into a soda shop type situation. Um, so I'm curious to see how that goes with my friend, my man Dave. But yeah, it's interesting. Nobody can stay longer than 45 minutes in that building because headaches. The group Charity was with, everybody was like walking out that door in 45 minutes to step outside.
Wow.
And this on the property that the Watson house is on, or no?
No, it's actually in Strawn, which is only like 2 minutes up the road, but it's in Strawn. So we drive our cars over there to downtown Strawn, and we hit City Hall first, and then we go over to the hardware / slaughterhouse location to investigate it too.
Wow. That sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely it's an interesting. And then before we go back into the Watson house, we use sage to get that negative energy off because I don't want anything nasty in there with the Watsons. Even though it was a funeral home, you don't get a lot of that energy except for in the embalming room, which is it's known as the guest room that's kind of attached to the house. So it's an interesting situation to where this last time when I was choked, they saged me real good, and there was so much smoke coming off of it. It was Palo Santo. There was so much smoke coming off of it that it was crazy. Amy was like, you've got a lot of smoke coming off of you. And I was like, well, get him off. Like whatever's on me, get him off right now. So yeah, it's definitely I've been told that it's some people say we're like an 8.5 on the haunt scale. Some people say we're an 11, 12. And then this is people who've been to, like I said, Haunted Hill House. They've been to all these other very, very haunted locations. And they're like, I've never, one girl said, it's kind of like Haunted Hill House, but I wasn't afraid for my life. So, you're spooked pretty good, but you don't feel like at any moment in the house that somebody's going to hurt you and they're going to hurt you bad, because it's almost like they're playing a game. Like they enjoy the laughter. They're enjoying, because we're all laughing. Somebody said, oh, look at us Scooby-Dooing it up. We're all laughing, and we'll stick, like, we'll be on live on TikTok, and it's on one of those little sticks. Something will go off in the hallway. Well, instead of us walking out there to find out what's going on, we just stick the stick right into the hallway. Like, what do y'all see out there? Is there something out there?
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it's definitely. I don't know why it's never been put on the map. I honestly, when I Googled Strawn, there was nothing except for their 6-man football team. So, but so it's a neat little town, and Mary's Cafe is pretty good too. But yeah, I try to make it a full immersion type situation.
Excellent.
And how can they book it with you?
Yeah.
So they can go on to like my Facebook page, the Wandering Soul Paranormal. They can reach out that way. We have I have it done with the owner to where we do one once a month right now. And the next one coming up is August 12th, and there's 3 rooms left there. It's just $100 deposit to hold the room, and the rest is due on the day of. So they can reach out to me through Facebook or, Instagram Messenger. I've got all that, or even email. The email is kind of long, but I guess I should have shortened it. I thought it would be cool, but now it's just a pain. Oh, look. Oh, You're
I did.
so good.
I did some investigating.
Look at that. Hey,
Oh my
don't get rid of her. Don't get rid of her. She's good.
Ah. Oh,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yay.
All
So,
sophisticated and stuff.
so what else do you guys have planned? Is it just the two, or do you want to give a shout out to the Parapalooza, or?
Yeah, no, I definitely need to do that, especially if Robbie and them are watching me. Parapalooza is an event that I've been wanting to bring to Cleburne, just to bring everybody to Cleburne to show them how crazy haunted Cleburne is. People talk about Mineral Wells, people talk about San Antonio, Austin, but nobody talks about this amazing town. And I want to bring tourism to Cleburne. I want people to know we are a tourist town, because I've asked and they're like, I even went to the judge's office and he's like, "Oh, we're not a tourist town." Well, if you think like that, you're not going to be. So so I'm like, I'm doing this, and we started promoting it. We have vendors that will be. This is September 30th. Vendors, oddities, different unique vendors will be there at the. There's a parking lot next to the Dillon Depot that we will be in, and we also have guest speakers that will be there, and I know one's Dark Side Paranormal, but we wanted to encompass something for people to come there and learn, like if you want to put on events in your own town, because my thing is I want to empower other investigators to build up their towns, because somebody like me, I want to come to your town. I want to help fund to keep Carnegie Library open, or to keep your city hall that was built in 1923. I want to help you do that. So if we give other investigators the tools to be able to know to do that, and that's why I wanted to do this. I wanted Robbie to come out and talk about ways how to work a drone to make all this amazing footage, and I want people to know how to do a podcast. So it's going to be speakers like that will be at the Dillon Depot speaking, and then I guess the piece de la resistance is the investigations that night. So I have 6 locations of friends who have opened their, I don't know if grudgingly opened up their doors, but they did open their doors for me. So we have Jimmy's, which is sold out, all 10 tickets. That's another thing I'm real big about. I don't like going over 10 people. That's just, for me, energies mixing, and it's too much sometimes for the spirits, and it waters down the investigation if you have a lot of people. So we limit it at 10 people.
We got
Jimmy's
6
is sold out. Oh, yes, you did. So Jimmy's is sold out. So I have Dillon Depot, which will be open. I only have one of those sold so far. And then Tracy's, my friend Tracy, she owns Rugged Man. I have gotten some clips on the Parapalooza event page of Tracy's location. I think I have 6 people registered for that one. There's still room there. There's also the Garden of Eating, the restaurant that's right there. She has plenty of availability, and Gelatis also has availability. And these people have even, I think Garden of Eden, Lori owns that. I think she's selling like wine and stuff while you're investigating. So,
Nice.
just a little extra. Gelatis will have ice cream. I put on there, this is good for beginner investigators and tweens, because a lot of places don't, and I get it, insurance wise, they don't allow kids to investigate, but kids who are very interested in this in a controlled environment can learn. So Gelatis is definitely going to be utilized because it is definitely a small space, and that's why it's on the cheaper end too, because it's little. But there is documented evidence at that location as well. So those are the locations, and it's all done through Eventbrite. But I'll have a part of my team who will be at the locations to help the owners at the locations navigate everything. But the money that is paid goes to these owners of these businesses to help them pay on whatever whatever they need it to go to. So this is real big for them too, and I'm just very blessed to have people who believe in me and who want me to, who will, let's just say, who allow me to help them. So, but it's going to be, we'll also have a haunted scavenger hunt. There will be a website that you're able to go to, kind of get a tour without me walking around with you through the scavenger hunt. And it gives history at each location and the different sightings that happened at those locations. And you're able to go around and have your own haunted tour with the scavenger hunt. And then, we'll have, we have VIP badges that the investigators will be getting at the booth. I don't know how I was made to deal with the website, because I'm an English major, and literally the struggle is real with this website. But there will be a website up hopefully soon, hopefully the day before the event hits, that they can go to.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's awful. Coding is just not my thing. It's not complete sentences. I mean, who came up with coding? My goodness. Complete sentences, please. But so it's the struggle's been real, but hopefully it will be up before the event happens. So
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This was a wonderful night. You gave
Yes.
us and our viewers just tons of information, all really, really good.
Good. I'm glad that everybody got some info out of it.
Oh, absolutely.
So since you mentioned no to dolls, when we go to Jefferson Hotel in a few months, can I go live from there and invite you to watch, or is that a big no?
Adam is staying in the doll room.
Yeah, he's staying in the doll room.
Oh, no. Adam, you are on your own, man. Like I can't even, and when I told you I'm long-winded, that brings up, so Robbie, Unknown Ventures, and his hateful self found this rag doll at City Hall, and she was a hot mess. She had some balding going on, and she was like this big rag doll. I called her Annabelle. And he brings her out, and he was like, I want to take her home. I said, no, you're not. She's not getting in my car. And he's like, please ask the owner if I can take her home. And I'm like, you're a big boy, you do it. So I ended up having to ask him if Robbie could take this wonderful doll home with him. She was not allowed to be in my car. So just picture me like tying her to the hood of my car.
Like National Lampoons and Grandma.
Yes. And then I made Robbie, he was not allowed to bring her inside Watson House. I made Robbie leave her in his truck. So that is how serious I am about dolls. I don't trust them. I'm a child of the 80s, and nope, I saw toys. I don't play with that. Oh, Lord have
Oh
mercy.
boy.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
She's like, disconnect.
Yeah, I'm like, technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. She's porcelain too, man. Come on.
And her mouth is open too. She has a little bit of an opening.
I'm like, some of these people bring these dolls in. I'm like, why do you have that doll?
Oh my gosh.
And those boo buddies, ooh, no.
Buddies? You don't like the boo buddies?
No, there's no reason why you should be sticking anything like that inside a stuffed animal. No.
That's poltergeist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. From the movie. Yeah. That's why I pictured.
Yeah, I don't. The whole Carol Ann going a lot. No. Not the little monkey. Nope, not that either. So yeah, I don't play. And clowns, child of the '80s. It messed me up, and so did toys. Pretty bad. So people are like, I was a park ranger, so I was used to removing snakes. I'm used to, tarantulas, like you name it, I can deal with it. But yeah, and Adam's over here, the Mr. Doll man over here is like, no to the
snakes.
This little girl, she she left her stuff in the tent and was like, I was removing snakes and everything else, and she's like, can you get my doll from them? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll get your doll. And I'm looking for this doll, I can't find it. Why the doll was up in the little cubby of the tent and it falls on me, I don't know, but I'm like, it never fails. My kids, their dolls stay in bags in their rooms. They get to love on them and everything, but I don't want them out walking around my house. I don't want to kick one down the hallway, and I'm kind of weird about that. Very weird about that.
Oh
yeah, the Chucky or something. Yeah.
Yeah, Chucky, and I had a Teddy Ruxpin and a Cricket. And when those things would malfunction, yeah, that's a whole nother fear unlocked for any person. So,
reminds me of Furbies, when Furbies would malfunction and just start talking and stuff, and do, you just hear do in the middle of the night or something, and you're like, what the heck is that? Yeah.
Their eyes would roll back in the back of their head, and they would go. No.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
It was a good night.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, y'all were amazing. So professional. Had like the little streaming names, and yeah, y'all got a cool setup going on here. I'm like, saw the entrance video. I'm like, ooh, am I getting paid for this? These are nice.
Oh.
This is all professional.
Now we're having technical difficulties.
Yeah.
No. Well, thank you again, Tracy, so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure to chat with you and getting to see you. So, yeah, I'm very thankful to be on.
Hopefully see you sooner. I shouldn't promise, but definitely probably before then. We might just
let's
come out and experiment first.
Yeah, come on out, and
I'm coming.
If you come before September, let me know that you're here, and I'll take you to some of my favorite haunts. So, so to speak.
Ooh,
thank you.
Exciting. Yeah, no, it's nice. Nice to meet you virtually.
Nice to meet you too. Yes. Very, very nice to meet y'all, and you too, Adam. Very nice to meet you too.
You too. Just don't bring any tarantulas or snakes with you, and I'll be the one running.
Yeah, I
So
promise.
that's a two-way street. You can't.
Yeah, I was
bring
about
back
to say,
doll.
Yeah.
you show me a doll, I'll show you a snake. We'll just we'll go tit for tat on that one, my
That's
man.
right.
We will go tat on that one.
Oh,
Man.
right on.
And
Okay,
yay.
Tracy, again, thank you so much.
Yes, thank y'all, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, have a good night.
All right,
And
bye, guys.
bye.
Yeah.
And thanks everybody
Bye.
for joining us.
Thank you.
Yay. Yay. Well, we'll see y'all on the next one, you guys, and we appreciate you guys tuning in.
It'll be
Aw.
August
Thank
3rd.
you,
And
thanks for
we'll
watching.
have Maddie and George on
Yay.
August 3rd. We'll see
Yay.
you guys then. Thank you so
Yeah.
very much for joining tonight.
Thank
Lot of
you,
fun.
guys. See y'all next time.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.